You just made a smart decision, and I want to make sure you get maximum results with it. Because here's something I've watched happen across every single cohort that we have ever run for this. Smart people show up on day one, excited, ready. They can see exactly how the multicasting method works. It all makes sense to them, and then something changes. Life happens. Day two, people get busy, the replay expires, and a week goes by. And the system they were genuinely excited to run never actually gets started. Look, I'm not saying that's going to happen to you, but I've watched it happen to many people who stay quiet about it. And today, right now, before you close this page, I want to give you the thing that stops that from happening to you. When we ran this exact training in 2025, we watched the full cohort closely. Here's what the data showed us. 20% of attendees had their first real result within the first week. 50% had results within the first month, and 95% are now making some form of revenue from what we taught them. Those numbers are real, and I'm proud of them, but here's what they also tell me. The people that got results fastest, they weren't the most experienced, they weren't the most motivated, they weren't working harder than anyone else. They were the ones who had something to come back to, a specialist who had already mapped their first move, a workbook that told them exactly what to do next, not just what to know, but what to actually do. A replay they could revisit 2 weeks later when a specific detail became relevant. That is the difference. Not talent, not luck, just the right support at the right moment. And that's exactly what the VIP upgrade gives you. Look, I want to be straight with you, the way I always try to be. The core multicasting commissions training is solid. It works. The 2025 numbers prove exactly that. But there is a gap between watching the training and running a system continuously. And the VIP upgrade exists for one simple reason: to close that gap. You already have all the information that you actually need, but with more specific support, tools and structure that keeps you moving when life gets in the way. Let me show you exactly what that looks like. The first thing you get with this upgrade is your own 30-minute onboarding call with a multicasting specialist. This is not a group call, this is not a webinar, it's a 30-minute one-on-one with someone who sits down with your specific situation, your niche, your starting point, your goals, and builds your personal implementation roadmap. By the end of that call, you know which niche to focus on, which platforms to start with, and what your first deal target looks like. Identified by name, specifically yours. See, most people lose weeks wandering through implementation because they are making general decisions. One 30-minute call will fix that permanently. The second thing you get is the 30-day extended replay access. The standard training gives you 24 hours to review each session. That's enough if life cooperates with you perfectly. But most people hit their real implementation phase in week 2, right when a specific detail from day 2 becomes critically relevant. With the 30-day access, you can go back to any of the sessions anytime and pull out exactly what you need in the moment that you need it. The training becomes a resource that you use, not a recording that expires sometime before you've gotten the value out of it. Number 3, you also get the Elite Implementation Workbook. Now, this is not a summary of the training. This is not a PDF you skim once and forget. These are the actual internal worksheets, platform checklists, and broadcast templates from real multicasting deals. Filled out as working examples so you can see exactly how the process runs in practice, not just in theory. You work through this alongside the training and come out with a real plan. Not a set of notes, a real plan. Number 4, you get a dedicated VIP Q&A session after the live training ends. The main training Q&A covers the most common questions from the entire group. That's valuable, but it can't cover your situation specifically. The VIP session is different. It runs after the 3 days are done and is focused entirely on what VIP members are dealing with in their own implementation. It could be your niche, your first proposal, your specific situation. Whatever you've been sitting on, you bring it and you get a direct, honest answer. And number 5, the complete AI tool suite. 7 tools built specifically for the multicasting method. These are generic tools. Each one removes a specific execution bottleneck that stops people from running the system. And when you upgrade today, I'm including 2 fast action bonuses. The client proposal generator is AI powered. You input the service type and the client situation, and it produces a professionally structured proposal, formatted, credible, and ready to send. It works in any language, so your outreach isn't limited to English-speaking markets. One of the biggest friction points in closing a deal is the proposal itself. This removes it completely. And you also get the commission calculator and tracker, real-time profit tracking, so you always know your margin on every deal. You can have current lifetime value projections, so you can see what a retained client is worth over the long term. And you can also do monthly revenue forecasting, so you can plan your next move with actual numbers. This is the financial visibility layer that turns a series of individual deals into something that looks and runs like a real business. Now, let me just show you what the next 2 weeks will look like with the VIP upgrade. Day 1 of the live training ends, you're excited, the model makes sense. You can see exactly how it works, but because you're a VIP member, what happens now is different than if you weren't. Within 48 hours, you're on a 30-minute call with a multicasting specialist. By the end of that call, you have your first 3 deal targets identified by name and category, the specific platforms that you will broadcast to first. Provide a match to your first service type, a clear sequence, what you do on day 2, day 3, and week 1, not a generic plan, your actual plan. You open the Elite Implementation Workbook. You can see exactly how a real multicasting deal runs in practice. You work through it alongside the training. You open the Client Proposal Generator. You type in the service type and the client's industry, and in a few minutes, you have a professional proposal ready to send. Look, you're not staring at a blank page, you're not guessing anymore. Let's fast forward to day 3. The live training ends. The standard version is over, but for you, the VIP Q&A session is just getting started. You bring the one thing that's still unclear, which is the question you didn't want to ask in the main session. You get a direct answer specific to your situation, and 2 weeks later, you're reviewing day 2 of the training again because you've had your first real conversation with a business and you want to sharpen the close. The replay is still there because you have 30 days of access, not just 24 hours. That is the VIP upgrade. And just to make this completely straightforward for you, you are backed by a full 14-day money-back guarantee. Go through the onboarding call, use the workflow, work through the AI tools, attend the VIP Q&A. And even if after 14 days you feel the upgrade didn't deliver what I've described here, email us and you will get every dollar back. No conditions, no back and forth. You keep the AI tools. We part ways as friends. The only real risk here is walking away without trying. Look, I'm going to be straight with you about one more thing. The training you just bought is good. It works. The 2025 result cohort proved exactly that. But good training without a support layer is how most people end up with notes they never use. The VIP upgrade is that support layer, the onboarding call, the extended access, the implementation workbooks, the AI tools. They exist for one reason only, to make sure that the momentum you have right now doesn't fade before it turns into a real result. For $97 one time, you remove the reasons people stop. So click the button below, upgrade to VIP, and I will see you on the calls.